Hey, what's up everyone? Geographic here, Jordan, the creator and founder of Moonworld. And today I want to welcome you to our very first free masterclass series, creating an original audio series from scratch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through my entire process. I'm going to break it down and simplify it. And through this series of videos, you're going to learn how to create an original audio series from scratch. And so what I'm going to do here, the first tool that you're going to need, and pretty much the only tool you're going to need, is Studio One Professional. Studio One Professional does cost money, but there is an affordable, subscription service available for it through a company called Splice. So let me pull that up and show it to you before we get started, because in my opinion, Studio One Professional is the best, digital audio workstation. A term that you might have to get used to. It's called DAW, D-A-W, Digital Audio Workstation. First note of the day. So let me pull it up. This is Splice's website. You go to the plugins area on the site, and you can simply search for Studio One, hit enter, and Studio One Professional 5 is actually what we are using today. You can start a free trial. I think you can, free for 14 days. So perfect. You can follow along with this tutorial, no problem at all. And then it's $16 per month for 24 months, rent to own. Now, as we go through this, you'll notice that I'm using tools that are outside of Studio One. But one of the most important things to realize is that Studio One has nearly all of those tools in their own instrument or their own effects called VSTs. And we'll get into that. I don't want to overcomplicate this. My goal with this tutorial series is to show you the easiest way to get started in making your own original audio series. And when I say the easiest way, I mean it. We're going to skip a lot of core fundamentals. So anybody out there who's, an audio engineer or a professional audio person, remember, the mentality behind this is to get people in, get their hands dirty, have them creating something and having fun as quickly as possible. And then I'll go into more intricate details, on various things throughout. So let's get started. First thing what I want you to do is click on New Song. Studio One has a bunch of great presets here that you can utilize, but we're going to go down to podcast production. You can experiment with some of these others, but I like the preset for podcast production, and we're going to set the song length for our series to 25 minutes, let's just do 20 minutes. The tempo and BPM, you can just leave it at 120. This stuff doesn't really matter. And then what we're going to do is have you go to song title, and of course, name this. I'm going to name this Moom Episode 12. Because what I'm going to be showing you is real-time us creating episode 12 together. I'm going to document pretty much the entire process for you and release these videos. You can choose the path of where it's saving. Okay, guys. So now we are in an empty Studio One project preset for a podcast production. And I'm going to give you a quick overview of the interface. We're going to actually skip a ton of stuff. But again, the goal is to get you started and get you working and creating as quickly as possible. But first things first, this area is known as a timeline. This is where you will see the entire arrangement of your project as it develops. And, we'll get further into that. Each of these here are the tracks. So we have music or effects, host, and guest one. Now, as you see this, when I click this, it actually corresponds to the track or strip down here, right? 1, 2, 3. Boom, boom, boom. Cool. And the things that you need to know about this is the volume of that specific track. This is the fader for the volume of the track, so on and so forth for each track. And then up here, inserts are where you insert effects. And I'm not going to get into these effects that are in their presets right now, but I'll pull them open and you can see them. So this is the effects unit that they have here. They've got a channel effect and a compressor, and we'll get into that stuff later. But for now, you can leave these in their default positions. They also have on the host track a de-esser, and I'll briefly explain what that is. When you talk and you hear S's, it's something that we call sibilants, and a de-esser removes sort of the whistle or hiss on words like that. And it's something that, makes the audio signal of your voice or whatever sound more clean. Anyway, let's not go too far. So really, the first thing that you need to know is these tracks. That's it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start recording for the host, because the first part of the audio series starts with the narrator. So I leave it called host, but for the sake of this one, we're going to turn it into narrator. I just clicked on it, renamed it. Pretty easy. I'm going to go ahead and pull up our episode 12 script. Check it out. Episode 12, The Ambush. We have the episode here as a PDF. This is a high-level rundown of what happens in the script. This was written by Saphir and myself, and we like to put this high-level, rundown so we can always refer back to it and glance at the episode as a whole, because, even though we're writing it, sometimes we need a refresher. So ambushers have the drop, Moom container is down, Moom takes a second to recover, 2 Mooms run out to each other, other Mooms run up and splashes. Moom and Goldstar vanish, convo explaining everything. So, that's it. The purpose of the episode, we explain the purpose from a high level so anyone can pick this up and understand before reading it. And then we have the characters and they're color-coded, within the script. So we know which part is which character. So if you keep scrolling down, Goldstar is orange. You'll scroll down. These are people who are not speaking. These are additional characters. Ooh, big alpha drop if you're paying attention to this. New characters that have not been final named yet or voted on by you, but they are people in the story. Let's keep scrolling down. The ambush. So here's the script. Everything that's black is me, the narrator or host. And as you can see here, this is where, the dialogue starts. And I got to go back and look at this because Kevin is blue. All right, so it starts with Kevin. So what we're going to do is we're going to record my part first. And in fact, we're going to record the entire episode first. And then I'm going to hit pause and we'll show you where we go from there. But it's important to note that I go through the entire episode and I voice everything as myself for timing's sake first. But let's get this started. So as you can see, my mic is being picked up here. This signal is from the microphone I'm speaking into. You may have to configure your microphone by clicking this I/O button over here. I/O setup, inputs. You can see here that mic 1 is routed to my complete audio setup. Your audio setup might just be the name of your microphone. I'm using something called an audio interface. That's a professional production tool. For the sake of getting started, you do not need this tool. It's only once you start adding multiple mics, physical mics and instruments. Just make sure that mic 1 is set and that your mic is configured, and you can just exit out of that. But that is something that people get, sidetracked with. All right, let's jump into the fun stuff. Let's start recording the episode. So narrator. So what we do to record, very important, is we go over here, we click this record button. So first thing we're going to do to get this party started is we're going to go click on the narrator and we are going to arm the track for recording. Notice that this button, when you hover over it, says record. It is now armed and the signal is coming through to this track, right? But it's not actually recording, but it's important that you arm the track you want to record on. So we could record for the narrator by arming this track, or we could record for the guest by arming this track. Anyhow, let's only arm the narrator. And as you can see, my signal down here is coming through on the narrator track. What you want to do, this is a little tip about your signal, is you want your audio signal, you see the peak of this signal, to be hitting at around -12 at the peak, in my opinion. -12 or -8 decibels, that's where this is going to be, the peak of where you want your audio signal to be coming in at from your mic. And we can adjust the loudness of this stuff later. I know I'm giving you a lot, but these are just little things to note. Get a notepad, take some notes. All right, let's start recording. So now the next thing we do is we come down over here to the bottom and we hit record. Okay, we're gonna hit record. You can see that the signal is now being recorded. And I'm gonna stretch this out. And you can now see I'm hitting the Command plus key just to expand what I see on this timeline. And you see I'm literally recording myself talking. Anyhow, now I'm just going to hit pause. I'm going to hit the space bar. That stops the recording. And you'll notice that it made something called take 1. We'll explain this later. So you have the actual recording, and then the system stores a take of that recording below it. We're going to hit record again. And now we're going to pull the script up. And I'm literally just going to sit here and read it, okay? Now you all can see me, but I'm going to read it. I'm going to get into my host character. Let's do this. Episode 12, Chapter 12, The Ambush. The heavily armored quant truck continued across its magnetic route, hovering above the cracked terrain of the post-American highway system, carrying Goldstar and team. Debris flew out of its way thanks to the multi-tone metal plating and kinetic repulsors humming on the front, bottom, and sides of the vehicle. Kevin, Goldstar's former street artist neighbor and companion from day one, was in the middle of telling jokes to the team. Goldstar sat up. So now I just messed up. And so what I do is I just pick myself up. I give myself a moment of silence, and I pick it up. Goldstar sat at the front, feet up on the dashboard. And I don't like how I said that. Goldstar sat at the front, feet up on the dashboard, studying a digital map on her trusted retro phone. The most recent addition to their... And I messed up again. That's okay. The most recent addition to their number, and still captive, Luna. So now this is written by Saphir, and I'm having a little trouble with the script, so I got to read it to myself. But no worries, we just keep recording. You never cut the recording. You can do that later. The most recent addition to their number, and still captive, Luna, was cocooned in a chair, completely encased by Moom's mycelium webbing. So I don't like the way that reads. Sorry, Saphir. So I'm going to improvise. The most recent addition to their container, Luna, is what I'm going to do. The most recent addition to their container, Luna, was cocooned in a chair, completely encased by Moom's mycelium webbing. Kevin was doing a questionable job. Kevin was doing a questionable job of lightening the mood as his jokes were getting increasingly bad. And now here's where we switch to Kevin, right? And I'm going to read the line for Kevin. And I try to get myself like lightly in character so that when I show the actual voice actors their reference, they can feel the energy that I'm trying to bring to the table as the director. Hold on. You know what's wrong with the restaurant on the moon? Great food, but no atmosphere. Okay. What's blue and not very heavy? Light blue. The room rattled as Moom, the alien goo-infested shipping container, laughed at the terrible humor. R.I.P. boiling water, you'll be missed. How? Well... And then, hold on, I messed up. And basically, Kevin's just telling jokes. Well, how about, what do you call a factory that makes okay products? I don't like how I said that. What do you call a factory that makes okay products? A satisfactory. And when I have that increase in my voice and my energy, that's something that I'm going to want to communicate to my voice actors. Unsatisfactory, right? And then here comes Goldstar. Can you stop for 1 second, Kev? Oh, and that's wrong. See, I do this all in real time, and I figure it out. Usually I read through it before, but... Can you stop for 1 second, Kev? I think I hear something, Goldstar interrupted. Kevin stopped his comedy store, and so what I'm doing here is I'm going to say it multiple times, and I'm going to pick the best take, right? Kevin stopped his comedy store audition, much to everyone's relief. I think it's coming from Luna. Should we get some more Moom webs on her? Moom! We're not putting more webs on her, Kev. And sometimes it says Kevin, I'm going to shorten it to Kev. It just feels more natural. And we're not. We're not putting more webs on her, Kev. We're not putting more webs on her, Kev. We're not going to web up young woman and... That's pretty funny. We are not putting more webs on her, Kev. We're not going to web up young women and drive off with them in the back of our quant truck like weirdos. I don't know why this was a good idea. I don't know why you thought this was a good idea. And see, again, a little ad-libbing, a little alteration of the script. But I was only doing what you signaled. Cutting it off right there so I can kind of make a nice transition. We'll get into that later as we massage the actual characters in. Okay, so I think this is a good stopping point for us to start the editing process. Like I said, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but we have enough character dialogue to begin the editing process, and I think that's a good part for this lesson today. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through, we're going to cut this up, and begin editing. So as you can see, my recording is still going. Very easy to stop. Just either click this red button or hit spacebar. Either one is fair game. And now you have the takes. We only did this one take, a long take. I like to do long takes without, you know, what's it called? Without stopping, and then I just go in and edit it up, and that's what we're going to do together. We've got like 8 minutes of stuff. And then over here, this take underneath, because we've only done one take, I am going to X this out, and it is going to remove this take layer. Don't worry about it. If you've done it just like this, you'll be in good standing. Okay, so far, hopefully everything's been pretty easy. We're going to start the editing process. So we need to unarm our recording here. It no longer needs to be armed. I'm going to unarm it. Boom. No longer armed. You could have done that up here too. I'm going to stretch this out so I can see the waveform. And I'm actually going to get rid of this view. This is called the mix view, where you mix the volume levels, but we're not worried about any of that yet. When we're going to go down here and we're going to click on Edit. And turn off mix. Close this. All right, so this is what you should have. It should be pretty simple. You can hit Command and the plus symbol, or Control and the plus symbol if you're on Windows, to expand the waveform. And we're actually just going to look at the entire track in its entirety. And we're going to begin creating cut points. So to create cut points, you go up here to the blade tool. See this split? They call it split tool. I call it a blade tool because I'm a video editor usually, and we call it a blade. Anyway, we are going to now listen to the track. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to delete this. I'm just going to do this with right-clicking so you guys can see what I'm doing. I'm choosing cut. You can also do Control or Command X. Cut. I'm getting rid of it, and then I'm just grabbing this and bringing it to the front. That's it. All I've done is brought our, to the front. So let's listen to it. Episode 12, Chapter 12, The Ambush. And this is where it starts. So let me make another cut point. Right-click, cut. And then I'm just going to go back to my arrow. Again, just using this so you can see me doing it all. You're going to figure out how to do it. You can do it with Command X and Command V, cut and paste. But anyway, this is just the easiest way. Episode 12, Chapter 12. Go back to our blade tool. The Ambush. The heavily armored quant truck continued across its magnetic route, hovering above the cracked terrain of the post-American highway system, carrying Goldstar and team. Debris flew out of its way thanks to the multi-tone metal plating and kinetic repulsors. Gonna pause for a second. I'm just listening to it until the first cut point comes up. Check this arrow out. I'm gonna teach you another toolbar, auto scroll, or you can tap F on the keyboard, but let's just stick to tools up here. Auto scroll. We'll just move the timeline around. You'll see. It's humming on the front, moves the timeline with the story of the vehicle. Kevin, Goldstar's former street artist neighbor and companion from day one, was in the middle of telling jokes to the team. Goldstar sat up. So now I just messed up. And so what I do is I just pick myself up. I give myself a moment of silence, and I pick it up. Now, that moment of silence is important. That moment of silence is right here, right? There's no waveform. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut here, and I'm going to cut before or right after I messed up. Of telling jokes to the team. Right here, give it. Goldstar sat up. So now I just messed up. All right, cut this away. Let's keep going. Goldstar sat at the front, feet up on the dashboard. And I don't like how I said that. Goldstar sat at the front, feet up on the dashboard, studying a digital map on her trusted retro phone. The most recent addition to their... And I messed up again. That's okay. So I think that phone, I think I'm picking it up. Phone. The most recent addition to their... And I messed up again. That's okay. The most recent... Now, I want to show you something interesting, just for fun. See how here where I say the most recent addition, and you can kind of see the shapes of this. And as you get more comfortable with audio editing, you don't really even have to listen to it. I know that sounds crazy, but this waveform looks the same as this waveform, so I know this is what's being said. Watch, check it out. The most recent addition to their... Oh, okay. The most recent addition to their... Right? So this is just something that comes with experience, but, The most recent addition to their... And I messed up again. That's okay. The most recent addition to their number, and still captive, Luna. So now this is written by Saphir, and I'm having a little trouble. We're going to skip through. But no worries, you can do that later. The most recent addition to their number. I think it starts here. I think I can identify it. The most recent addition to their container, Luna, is what I'm going to do. The most recent... So I'm going to chop out all this. And now if you minimize the timeline... You can actually bring your mouse up here and use the middle mouse wheel. You'll see that we've cut out a lot of space already. Anyway, just wanted you to see that. I'm not even worried about putting them together. I'm just cutting our good takes out, and then we'll bring it together as part of the next step. All right. In addition to their container, Luna was cocooned in a chair, completely encased by Moom's mycelium webbing. Kevin was doing a questionable job. Again. Kevin was doing a questionable job of lightening the mood as his jokes were getting increasingly bad. You know what's wrong with the... Cut that out. Restaurant on the moon? Great food, but no atmosphere. Okay. What's blue and not very heavy? Light blue. The room rattled as Moom, the alien goo-infested shipping container, laughed at the terrible humor. R.I.P. boiling water, you'll be missed. Okay, so now we've got, I think, 3 people's dialogue or 2 people's dialogue. This is a good point in the tutorial for me to show you the next step of editing and the arrangement. But usually what I'll do, and what I'll do after this video recording, is I'll go and I'll finish all the rest. But let's just start sculpting from here. Want to get you there quickly. Make sure you save your project. File save, Command or Control S. You all should know that. I assume everyone knows that. But if you don't know, now you know. All right, so let's go back, and what we're going to do is we're going to reduce the distance between these clips. I'm just going to highlight them all like this. Bring it over, bring it closer. I'm going to bring all these things closer to each other. We're just doing this in kind of a silly way, but that's okay. Actually, sometimes I like doing it this way. All right. And so far, what have we done? We have used about 3 total buttons. So, don't let this stuff scare you. You can figure it out, especially in the way we're teaching it here. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're just going to get the flow correct. This is called arranging. We are essentially arranging the project and the project's flow. It's part of the edit. Let's listen. Canyon from day 1 was in the middle of telling jokes to the team. Okay. And now... see, what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect these 2 pieces together, and I'll explain more about that later too. To the team, Gold Star sat at the front, feet up. Okay, I got the timing feeling natural. It's always important. Well, I shouldn't say this, but for now, for beginning, it's important that you don't have dead space. Oftentimes, this is actually called room tone. If there's like tone of the external ambience in the room when you're recording something, but my mic doesn't really have any room tone because it's calibrated or whatever. But I try to make it so there's no actual spaces in the timeline. Like if it was like this, it would be a little weird. You could actually hear the frequency shift between it. So team telling jokes to the team. Gold Star sat at the front, and that might actually be a little late. So I'm just gonna trim that back, put it together like this. Jokes to the team. Gold Star sat at the front, feet up on the dashboard, studying a digital map on her trusted retro phone. The most recent addition to their container, Luna, was cocooned in a chair, completely encased by Moom's mycelium webbing. That sounded pretty good. Let's keep going. Let's keep this thing moving. Mycelium webbing. Kevin was doing a questionable job. Kevin was doing a questionable job of lightening the mood as his jokes were getting increasingly bad. I'll probably start the joke here. Okay, bring Kevin in. You know what's wrong with the restaurant on the moon? Great food, but no atmosphere. Okay. What's blue and not very heavy? Light blue. The room rattled as Moom... Okay, this is something that I want to show everyone, because this is the next step in the arrangement. So right now, this is the narrator. What I'm going to do... I'm just bringing this down. See guest 1? I'm going to take the guest 1 track. I'm going to rename it Kevin. Okay. I'm going to right click. I'm going to choose duplicate track. I'm going to name it Gold Star. Duplicate it again. And I'm going to name it Moom. So we have additional tracks, and you can see that these tracks have shown up down here on the mixer. So now what we're going to do is we're going to make a color code. I usually make Kevin purple. And then we're going to go get Gold Star. I make her orange. This is just a visual representation, and I make Moom blue. So Kevin right here, this is Kevin. You know what's wrong with the restaurant on the moon? Great food, but no atmosphere. All right, so all we're going to do is we're going to click on this, and we're going to drop it right down. That's it. So now you've got me, the narrator. Jokes were getting increasingly bad. You know what's wrong with the restaurant on the moon? Flowing right into Kevin. And this is going to help us later when we get the actual voice artist, the crypto rap god who plays Kevin in our series, punched in, replacing my lines. And it also makes it easier for us to edit because even though we're gonna match my timing and I'm gonna direct it to match my timing, the timing fluctuates based on the person who's reading it, and it just goes that way no matter what. Great food, light blue. The room rattled as moon. And I might take that a bit in. That's okay that it crosses like this. We'll clean this up in the end. Blue. The room rattled as Moom, the alien goo-infested shipping container, laughed at the terrible humor. R.I.P. boiling water. So laughed at the terrible humor. I would actually, this will probably become a sound effect. There's nothing there yet. That's later in the process. Don't get ahead of yourselves. Finish the arrangement first, always. R.I.P. boiling water. You'll be missed. And then what's the next thing? What do you call a factory that makes okay products? Let's just bring this one in. Let's finish this up. All right. R.I.P. boiling water, you'll be missed. What do you call a factory that makes at the terrible humor? All right. Now we're just going to highlight this, drop it down to the Kevin line. So the same thing will happen with the gold star line. Let's get one more character in on this tutorial. I'm just going to minimize, drag this whole thing over here. See if we can get gold star in. So we got it going 3 different ways. Can you stop for 1 second, Kev? Oh, and that's wrong. See, I do this all in real time, and I figure it out. Usually I read through it before. That actually didn't sound too terrible. Let's listen to the next take. But can you stop for 1 second, Kev? I think I hear something. Yeah, that's probably better, honestly. You could always bring them next to each other and compare, or you could use that take thing, but we're not going to get into that. Can you stop for 1 second, Kev? Can you stop for 1 second, Kev? I think I hear something. Yeah, so we're going to get rid of this one. I'm just hitting Command X to get rid of it. Let's bring this down to the gold star line. Satisfactory. Line that up. Satisfactory. Can you stop for 1 second, Kev? Satisfactory. Can you stop for 1 second, Kev? I think I hear something. All right, so we now have, you know, myself, the narrator, Kevin, and gold star. And I think that's good enough for the sake of this tutorial. This is the first, you know, arrangement process. And all you would be doing is you would go through the entire episode. You would arrange it first on the top line as the narrator. You would actually get through the whole thing, cutting through all the narrator bits, right? And, you know, separating the characters. And you would drag each character, you drop down each character onto their line. That is the arrangement of the episode. And you would make sure that the timing between everything felt really good. So let's give it a couple more. Hold on, and then we'll wrap it. Second, Kev, I think I hear something. Gold star interrupted. Okay, that's a good one. Something. And this playhead right here, I'm just aligning the waveform with where I think it should be. I think I hear something. Gold star interrupted. I'm going to cut this here because it looks like I have a glitch. Kevin stopped at... Yeah. Cut. Kevin stopped at his comedy storage edition. Much... Yeah, that was the... Okay, so anyway, you get the point, but you need to do this to your entire episode, to the entire thing. And then afterwards, you know, we'll go from there. What I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to provide... Not only am I going to provide the project files for this, but I'm also going to provide my unedited narration file. I think. Fingers crossed that I can actually successfully do that. But either way, you could also read the episode on your own and give it a try. Maybe that's the better thing. Read the episode on your own, be the narrator, be the geographic, and make it happen. But this is our first tutorial, and we'll be back with more as we get to the next step.